Hello, my name is Jeannine Han. This is my home studio. Welcome to my crib. This is my garden where I've created a bird sanctuary which contains a bird bath sculpture made by an artist duo called Ficus Interfaith, Frank Trainer, and Children of the Rockaways. Frank runs a nonprofit organization that teaches kids about world peace by making art. Now we are entering the solarium where I house rescue plants that I glean from the floral district near where I teach fashion and textiles at FIT. The light is so beautiful in here where it inspires me to create color palettes for upcoming projects. Now we're entering into Dan Riley's studio. He is a sound artist, and currently we are working together on a project for New York City parks in Queens.
Hi. Yeah. We're currently working on a project for New York City parks where we'll be installing a sculpture in Flushing Meadows Park in Queens. This is a program I wrote early on to explore different variations on sculptures and simulate them in a physical environment.
Here we are looking at a study on how forms create a transcorporeal experience in both interior and exterior environments. Currently, we are subletting a studio in LIC where we're able to bring our sculptures to full scale using various materials such as metal, foam, concrete, and mosaic tiles. This is my library where I do some of my research. I've repurposed the bookcase to check the scale of the sculpture. This is an early study of a variation. The last room in my home studio is a place where I'm able to work on textiles using various technologies and hand processes in knitting and weaving. Right at the beginning of the quarantine lockdown, Dan and I were working on knitwear to encode messages about staying home and isolation can be recovered through a tactile experience. Dan and I have been looking at ways of using obsolete computers by resuscitating them as artist tools. Being a studio artist in residence at the Queens Museum allowed me to engage with the community in Corona, Queens. I've had the opportunity to meet regularly with a lovely group of women of Latin American origin at the museum who work with hand crochet and embroidery. I was able to facilitate a workshop using a hand knitting technique called intarsia, embedding images into the structure of the textile. These became wearable art, fully fashioned to the artists' bodies and focusing on the humanitarian crisis of migration camps from Central America to the U.S. The home studio is also where I'm able to work on my Dobby loom that is controlled by the computer. I'm interested in the transcendental connections with human sensitivity and in the age of spiritual machines. But I also exchange with the hand weaving process where the artist controls the visceral process of working with materials. Dan and I had been working on an installation that represents a sound designer studio at Entree Gallery in Bergen, Norway. This installation consists of a 16mm film, hand-woven tapestries, and a robotic sculpture where the microphone augments the sound in the room to elevate the metaphorical inner mind. A quick shout out I would like to make is to my friend Sophie Ness, who is a weaver and painter. Recently, I visited her studio in Queens where she has been working with her graduate students from Yale, making banners of anti-racism to protest in New York City. I want to acknowledge my community at the Queens Museum where they have given me a space to create with a sense of care during a time where we are facing a global social-political crisis. My heart is out to people, families, and communities out there.